Alright, we're going to make a couple of batches of Holi powder. I've seen places on the internet where they show you instructions how to make a little pound or so, but we're going to be working with a lot larger quantities. Getting ready for a youth group activity, we need 50 pounds. I found that if you go to Walmart and purchase your cornstarch, which you need, it's about $1 a pound. I was able to get it at Cash and Carry, a 50-pound bag for about $25. I was also able to get commercial grade food dye for about $3 a bottle. And so we're going to show you how to do a whole big batch of this. You can see here we have a big giant pot of cornstarch, and now we're going to start adding the water. Alright, we're going to start right there with one bucket, and then we're going to start mixing. Before this gets settled in too much, we're going to actually add the food coloring. I usually add the food coloring directly to the water, but I forgot, so we're going to add that now. The reason I usually add it directly to the water is just to make mixing easier, but as you can see we're going with blue, and we're going to be plenty generous with the food coloring, because it always turns out lighter than you expect it to. Just kind of like with paint, when you're painting your home, when you put your paint on your walls, it always seems darker until it dries and usually lightens up. So now we're going to start mixing this in. Mixing cornstarch is always kind of fun and kind of a bit of a weird challenge because it kind of gets thick. So one of the things I find that works is you just kind of take it and you just kind of break it apart and let gravity do some of the work for you here. So you just kind of mix it around and just break it apart and let the color saturate in, let this fluid saturate in, and just go. It's not overly complicated. It just takes a little bit of time. One of the best things you can do is take your bucket and kind of tip it on its side right here. And while it's tipped, you just take your spoon or whatever you're mixing with and just kind of pull it. And again, just kind of let gravity do its work. You see it's just kind of getting mixed in there and getting more and more consistent in that oobleck status of texture. And again, just kind of let gravity do the mixing for you. You're never going to be able to muscle it. It's obviously an interesting, weird substance. The harder you hit it, the less it goes, but put it in there nice and soft and it pulls apart. Just keep kind of flipping it over like this and you'll get it mixed in. Alright, at this point it's getting a little dry, and so I'm going to go ahead and add some more water. As I've mixed this in, I feel like my color is getting a little weak, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more blue. Because again, it will turn out much lighter than it is when it's wet. Alright, you can see now we're getting pretty consistent in our color and texture. Just a few light spots in there, and that's fine. And we're a little runny as far as our texture. Maybe added just a little bit too much water along the way, but that's fine because we have more cornstarch. So I'm going to add just a little bit more food coloring and a little more cornstarch, and we'll kind of get this dried up a little bit and take you on to the next step. As you can see, we've got this worked down to a pretty good, even, consistent color and texture. Oobleck is fun. Now I'm going to pour it into this pan right here, and we'll start the drying process. Alright, so here we have our 3 pans of blue Holi powder in process. Now it's time for it to dry. You can either just give it lots of time. I've seen people stick it in the oven. I've got another method that I'll show you that involves a crock pot. But we're going to make some purple next, and before we do that though, we're going to point out the fact that I probably should have put on gloves. That's as clean as my hands have gotten, and that was after a lot of scrubbing. So yeah, food dye is, that's not playing around. So yes, gloves are good. Alright, to further reduce the risk of more standing on my hands, I grabbed some gloves. So now we're going to do a purple. So again, this time I'm going to do it right and mix the colors ahead of time, so that way it's more consistent throughout the entire mix. So, gotta make some purple. Again, it's gonna be pretty hard to tell what this color is until we get a little more cornstarch in there. All right, now we're just gonna start mixing it in. Just start slowly. Let's get thicker and thicker, and more into that oobleck consistency. We'll add water and food coloring as needed. Alright, because I remembered to mix my water and my food coloring before I started adding stuff, This actually mixed in probably half the amount of time that it took me to do the blue by itself. As you can see, the blue is setting up over there and starting to harden. And we're going to pour this purple into some sheets, and then we're going to set them out to dry. Alright, so here we have 5 pans of holy powder in process, and now I'm going to take you upstairs and show you what I've done to help speed up the drying process. Here that this batch has become solid, but you'll see on the inside it is still wetter than on the outside. So this is when I just kind of break it up and start breaking it up in smaller pieces to help speed up that drying process. Alright, here we have a batch of green powder that's in process, and what I've done is taken this oven here and set it on 150, so it's just a little warm. You don't want to get it too hot. And put the powder on here and start breaking it up. You can see some of that powder is just a little bit darker than the other stuff, and that means that there's still a bit of moisture in there. Just kind of keep stirring it around, gently drying it, and that will speed up the drying process without cooking it. I tried using a crock pot one time, and it got too hot and actually baked the cornstarch. This is a much better way to go. Here's some red that I made. It's completely dry and ready for the final process, which the final process is sifting. I need to get these big chunks down into a fine powder. There's a couple of different ways to do that. One, I've seen people use a rolling pin, but again, we're talking large quantities, so I don't think that's a good idea. I've seen people use a coffee grinder. Again, probably not a great idea for a large quantity. What I found works best for doing a lot is a blender. Alright, this is the final step. You can see we have some coarse powder here. This is all fully dried and ready to go. And what we have here is a cheap little blender I picked up at Goodwill. And what we're going to do is we're going to just dump some of this in here. Not all of it, but a good amount. And you got to do it slowly because it does kind of make a little bit of a mess. You definitely don't want to do this someplace where that powder is going to cause a problem. So just put in something like that. You take the lid, use a lid, and then we're just going to hit the kind of pulse setting here and kind of spin it up. Just a little bit like that, and what you'll see now, as soon as a little bit of the dust clears, is that we have now a really fine powder that is far better suited for your color wars and all that kind of fun stuff there. And all that is going to only run you about maybe 60 cents a pound if you're going to do it in this quantity of bulk. And again, I can put more in the blender. This was just for the purpose of example. So there you go, folks. That's how you can make yourself a ton of holy powder at a really cheap price.